Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace be unto you and peace from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha the Messiah, his Son. This is Brother David coming to sound the trumpet. The new moon has been sighted on October 10th. Our new month has begun. Now, this is the way that you calculate your months, by the new moon, by the clock that the Mighty One put in the sky so that you would know exactly when to carry out his feast days and his Sabbath days. If you are not doing it this way, especially to calculate your weekly Sabbaths, you will definitely be off. And you will take an abominable day and make it a Sabbath day. Now let me show you the numbers for this month. On the Gregorian calendar, the one that's created by Pope Gregory, look for the 10th. It falls on a Wednesday. It came in the evening of the 9th when the crescent moon was sighted. Remember how it works with the Father. The evening and the morning were the first day. So the 10th is new moon's day. It ends in the evening of the 10th. Now let's see if we can get 6 working days to the Saturday Sabbath. Thursday, Friday, stop. That's only 2 days, but Saturday's here already. Saturday cannot be the Sabbath. Not if you follow the way the Father has put things into action. You cannot get Saturday as the Sabbath. Remember something. If you don't do it his way, you're going to make an abominable day the day of worship. You cannot do that. Now, if it starts on the 10th, that means all of your Sabbaths during the month will come straight down the line, the 17th, the 24th, the 31st, and so on. 6 working days, and you calculate until the month begins again. Suppose you follow the full moon as the new moon, right? Like our brothers do. That would start on the 24th. Let's see if we can get 6 working days to the Saturday Sabbath. Thursday, Friday, same thing. You cannot get that. Unless there's some way of counting that we don't know about. But if you count 6 working days, your Sabbath would be on the 31st. So all of the Sabbaths would be in line. Brothers and sisters, what happened? How did everything get so twisted? Well, there's a man who created the Saturday Sabbath. His name is Hillel II. Hillel II. Listen to this. When I was in Bible school, I asked the Archbishop. I said, Archbishop, I want to further my education. I want to go for a PhD. Do you know what he told me? He must have been, the Mighty One must have been speaking through him at this time. He says, David, don't do that. He says, go and study history. Everything is going to unfold in history. And he was 100% correct. Listen to this. Prior to the destruction of Jerusalem, the high priest had been in charge of the calendar. While the Sanhedrin, the rabbinical Supreme Court, presided in Jerusalem, there was no set calendar, but there is today. They would evaluate every year to determine whether it should be declared a leap year. This task fell to the president of the Sanhedrin when the priesthood was no more. Under the reign of Constantinus, look at the date, 337 to 362, the persecutions of the Jews reached such a height that the computation of the calendar was forbidden under pain of severe punishment. So you were no longer allowed to look up in the sky and observe when the new moon was to come in to calculate when your Sabbaths and your feast days were. Are you understanding this? You would die if you were to do this. That's what the severe punishment was. It was a reaction to this situation that Hillel II, the president of the Sanhedrin, took the extraordinary step in 359 CE of modifying the ancient biblical calendar to allow the Jews to more easily coexist with the Christians. Do you see what I'm saying here? This was done for convenience. It was also done so they wouldn't get their heads chopped off by Constantinus the Great, who was ruling the whole known world at that time. When Hillel II fixed the calendar, he incorporated leap years on a permanent basis. It is possible, but not probable, that this particular cycle of leap years was used and understood prior to Hillel, as it follows the 19-year Metonic cycle. Hillel based his calendar on mathematical and astronomical calculations. Is that the way that it's done? No. It's done by observation. Then you count your days from there. You look up in the sky. You see the new moon. You know that's the first day. You count 6 working days to your Sabbath, and that's how you get Yahuwah's Sabbath day. This calendar is still in use. Standardized the length of months and the addition of months over the course of a 19-year cycle, so that the lunar calendar realigns with the solar years. He declared a 13th month to be intercalculated in the 3rd, the 6th, the 8th, the 11th, the 14th, the 17th, and the 19th years of the 19-year cycle. Are you seeing what they've done? This is all about calculations, brothers and sisters, mathematical equations. The Father never wanted us to do that. He just wanted us to look up in the sky, observe the new moon. He knew you should know that that's the beginning of months. It's only looking at a clock in the sky. That's all you were supposed to do. But every time men come and put their hands in it, they make it complicated. This is why my whole motivation behind making these videos about the new moon was to make it as simple for you as possible. But Hillel did more than make known a 19-year cycle of intercalations that was, in all probability, used all along. No, it was not. He also transferred the observance of the ancient Sabbath from the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29 days of the lunar month to every Saturday of the Julian months. So, this is how your Sabbath day got to be on every Saturday, because Hillel II did this. All you have to do is look in history. It tells you who changed these times and these laws and messed everything up for you. You have to fight to find your way back to the Mighty One, because all you're going to find is stumbling blocks. Every place you put your foot, you're going to find a stumbling block. This change necessitated still another: rules of postponement. Rules of postponement. Because it's not being calculated by the moon, brothers and sisters, by the new moon, now you have to have rules of postponement, because you're trying to make it come in on Saturday of every month. So you have to postpone certain days, certain feasts, add days, a lot of calculations. Do you see how complicated they've made this? Changing the weekly Sabbath from the luni-solar calendar to Saturday is clearly implied by the need for rules of postponement, which prior to Hillel's fixing of the calendar had been unnecessary. See, there's no reason for rules of postponement so that you can make Let's see if the feast days fall. Well, I'm going to get into it. According to the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, the new moon is still, and Sabbath originally was, dependent upon the lunar cycle. Do you understand? They know this. But Hillel changed everything, and they follow Hillel. When both the Sabbath and the annual feasts are calculated on the lunisolar calendar, rules of postponement are unnecessary. You don't need to have rules of postponement to move the days around if you do the lunisolar calendar. But one of the problems that you'll run into is that your Sabbath will never be on Saturday. Well, maybe some way down the line it may come to a Saturday, but it's mostly unlikely that it would be on a Saturday, brothers and sisters. It is only when the yearly feasts are calculated by one calendar and the weekly Sabbath is calculated by another that there are conflicts requiring rules of postponement. I just wanted to give you this information so that you can understand that the people who gave you your Saturday were the Jews, not Israelites, the Jews. The same ones you see with the curls running around out there, they gave you this. We've been keeping the Sabbath on Saturday, Saturn's day, since we came into this understanding of the Mighty One, keeping Torah. But there's always going to be stumbling blocks. That's why you have to stay in the book, study everything, so that you can find out. This is a huge find, brothers and sisters. This dictates to you that the Father is coming soon, so get ready. Take the information that I am giving you, research it carefully. Then, if you find it to be true, which you will, because it's the only Sabbath and the only way to calculate the Sabbaths and the feast days, according to the Bible, then you will be convinced that the Sabbath is not on a Saturday. Shalom.